got some of the nature and the strange shows like Ancient Aliens and all that. But boy, a lot of people don't have that. Radio is still good, and you can listen to it and drive a truck. That's one of the best things.
Well, that's most of our listenerships actually come from truck drivers. But I was surprised. I got one of my listeners said, "Hey, here is a link to just one app in Western Europe." And you know, as you know, there's tons of different apps you can listen to shows on. It was only one. And we're averaging, was it, James, up to some nights up to 30-some thousand, down to 20-some thousand on the average. And that's just off of one app in Western Europe. And I didn't even know anybody was listening over there.
Yeah, you're right. It was between, 20 to 30. And that was just one app with, a country that probably, if English, they speak it, it's maybe a third language or broken English. So, but they download stuff like that. So that's a pretty good number. I mean, between 20 and 30, so probably average 22, 25 million.
Yeah.
Well, that's really amazing. Well, yesterday morning, this Russian journalist, I guess, who looks like if you go to her Facebook site, she looks like a fashion model, out modeling all these really cool outfits all over everywhere. But she's a journalist, so she wanted to do an interview with me about fossil insects, giant insects, and what would happen. I think it was an attempt to talk about global warming, so what would happen if things got warm. So I told her, if you get more oxygen, more water, more humidity, and more heat, all these insects would be a lot bigger. But would they be the kind that could kill a baby dinosaur like the fossil record? There's some of those things that were 6 or 8 feet long, like a giant centipede. And I found part of one out here in the Triassic red beds that must have been at least a foot long, and he's segmented with spikes on the side, kind of like a giant centipede thing. But the problem was, not only did she have a cold, she says, it's cold in Russia. She was sneezing and coughing and stuff. But the language barrier, sometimes the only word she knew to say, I just simply couldn't figure out an English word for it. So there was a little bit of a problem there. But from Russia, and she knows actually some of my paleontology friends in Moscow. She knew them, said she'd done interviews with them. But so you guys you're being heard probably, you think, in Russia?
Well, according to when I go on to the server, there's a small percentage in Russia, Australia, South America, Africa, UK, Scotland, Ireland. One of my big fans, was it from Scotland, James? That is always messaging us. Yeah. So, I mean, it's everywhere. Plus, even a few people in the United States.
Yeah. Have y'all ever done a show on Yowie, on the Australian Yowie?
No.
Well, I was in Australia a year and a half ago to deliver a big fossil salamander skull over there to a museum. I guess one of the only creation museums in the whole country over there. Got some fabulous stuff, and they're always out digging. Oh my gosh. They had the head of a giant, I think it was a giant wombat or something. That thing was nearly 3 feet long. That'd be like having a rodent today, like a rat or something would weigh a couple thousand pounds. This thing's enormous. And they found it, some guy found it in his field over there. There's so much stuff over there, too. And I was hoping to see a yowie or find somebody who knew something about it. But I think I have got a photograph. In fact, there was a mummy. 2 mummies were offered to me about 15 years ago by a guy. They were sitting up with their hands on their feet, their knees up to their chest. Had human heads with real long dog faces on them, or something. I assumed it was some sort of an orangutan, maybe. But these things would have been 7 feet tall. And it looked to me like maybe they had buried them in hot sand, or, they died or something. They set them up and then buried them in hot sand, just mummified them or something. But I guess they came out of some old temple, or something over there a long time ago. Well, those things, when I saw the one photograph of what they thought might have been a yowie, he's sitting on a log. The thing's monstrous, and he's like a bodybuilder. He's got this kind of little head, and it's a blurry photograph, but it looks like that thing supposedly from China. So I don't know what either one of those was, but somebody ought to have done something on Yowie over there. Aren't they pretty much a Bigfoot type animal, supposedly?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of documentaries where they went out looking for the Yowie. And it's kind of similar to the one in China or over there in Southeast Asia, the Oran Pandik, or I think they pronounce it. But yeah, it's their version of our Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, this thing that's sitting on the log doesn't appear to be haired, and he's muscular like a really well-built man. Looks like he's about 7 or 8 feet tall. There's a couple or 3 other look like white guys sitting on a log there without a shirt on, so I don't know what to make of it. It's a blurry photograph. Doesn't look like it's any kind of a Photoshop thing. But I put it into Photoshop and just sort of cleaned up around what I thought his head was. And it's got, as far as I can tell, that same human ball head, the ball-shaped human head with this long snout on it, what it looked like to me. So, I don't know, maybe these things, some of them have been domesticated or worshipped. A lot of people in different lands worship animals. I don't mean just American women, that have little dogs. But.
Well, hey, there's a lot of us older guys that have dogs too, and you know what?
Well, if I were going to get a dog, it wouldn't be a real dog, it'd be a Chihuahua. They don't eat much, they don't do much, they're fierce, they're friendly. Well, if you're their buddy, but they're almost a dog.
Well, I can tell you this. My son moved back home with his 2 dogs. Now, my dog, after 20 years, it was part poodle, part terrier, a little teeny dog. It just passed and went to doggy heaven here back a few months ago. My son moves in. He has 2 dogs. These dogs are, when they stand up on their, 2 legs, they are now taller than me. Put it this way, they're huge, and they weigh about 130 pounds each, and they're under a year old.
So you could hook them up to a cart and go for a ride. They'd probably love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I tell you one thing, they are my little toy, poodle terrier would eat a bag of dog food a month and then eat little bit of food each night. These dogs go through a big bag of dog food every couple days. And unfortunately, the type breed the dog they are, you have to use this, a certain dog food. It's $60 a bag.
Mm. Yeah, you need to have a dog like that needs to be working. Yeah. But if
they do work, Joe. They work around the house. They eat everything they can find that go in their mouth. My daughter, she doesn't even know this, so hopefully she isn't listening. She spent $159 2 weeks ago from earphone buds, plug in your ear, little teeny ones. Right. And she goes, "Do you mind if I spend $159?" I said, "Hey, you work at the hospital. It's your money, right?" About 4 days ago, I see the dog running around. I figured it had something in its mouth. And James, you want to say the breed of the dog? Because I don't even want to say it.
Great Dane.
Yeah, he's Great Danes. And I put my hand down all the way past my wrist, and then I pull this out, and guess what? It was their $159 headphones. Thank God the dog had it in his mouth and didn't chew on it yet.
So yeah, don't leave your phone, your iPhone laying around either.
Don't leave chargers around. Don't leave electrical cords around. Don't leave remotes for the TV around. Don't leave any glasses around anywhere. And if it's anything you don't want, then leave it around. But don't leave your shoes anywhere the dog can find it. In other words, don't leave anything anywhere because these dogs will find it and it's gone. It's history.
Sounds like you don't really need to have a garbage. Just throw it out in the backyard and let them have it.
They create more garbage than I ever seen in my life. God, Great Danes, they go poo-poo like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I bet.
That's why I don't have even a Chihuahua, you know. I mean, they're going to have to do something every day. And if it's the cold winter, we're probably not going to go out in the outside. They're going to go in the corner on the rug. So I'm staying away from them.
Yeah, well.
I have one yard cat, and he's real nice. I throw him leftovers out, and he's happy, and I'm happy, and he doesn't come in the house. I don't have to touch him.
That's a smart move. Now, let's get into any reports of, werewolves, anything, strange. We should just jive talk for another 2 minutes because we got a station break coming on here in about 2 minutes. But, again, why don't you tell people anyway, before we start, after the break talking about, these cryptids and stuff like that, where can they find your museum at and all that information? Why don't we give a big plug to you now?
Well, they can go to www.mountblanco.com. That's MTBlanco.com. We pronounce it Mount Blanco. If you're really doing Spanish, you call it Monte Blanco. But we're on Highway 124 in Crosbyton, Texas. Everybody heard about it? Well, almost everybody. We're east of Lubbock, which is Buddy Hollyville, and Waylon Jennings and all those guys. We're out here on the edge of the Llano Estacado, which is the burial ground for endless, strange creatures, crocodilians, big mammoth, all kinds of stuff, and it's a pathway for these strange things like chupacabra, Mothman, Bigfoot. Why they come through here, I don't know, but that's Crosbyton for you. That's a Mount Blanco Fossil Museum. We're the largest non-evolution working fossil museum in the country, maybe in the world.
Interesting.
We're not evolution based. We don't think it's scientific, and we actually dig this stuff up, fix it up, study it, research it, and all that, make reproductions of it.
And is this like a 7-day job you have to do?
Well, it's my full-time occupation, but I'm an artist also. I've done everything you can do in art, and in fact, half of my museum, or the other half of my museum, is actually a series of billboards that I painted back in the 70s and 80s of just about every major rock group, country group in the world, including the Beatles. On 6-foot square panels, we put them up on the windows of major record stores like Tower Records and Peaches Records. I just made a documentary about Tower Records here a while back. It was a big deal, and it was right there on Sunset Strip. I was a main billboard painter because I could do portraits.
Interesting.
So I was in a band. I had a girl singing partner. We had a band, and we're doing some recording and all that sort of stuff. So I knew a lot of these guys and their background people, their roadies and guys like that. Helped Elton John with a concert one time before he came out and announced that he actually said on radio one time he was bi, and I never saw him after that. But I was kind of right there in the middle of the whole thing. But I was also involved in the Jesus movement, which lapsed over into the political movement. And I just didn't have the sense to stay out of anything. I was interested in everything that came along. And the fossil thing, I was always fascinated by old stuff, fossil things. And when I got burned on a couple of big art deal overlooking Bob Dylan's swimming pool, turned out to be a thing for the mob. I was decorating the ceiling for the mob, and they kind of made me unhappy for a while. Anyway, I decided to get into paleontology and went to work for the Ray Tar Pits.
Okay, hey, so, Joe, we're going to have to take a break. We'll find out more about this after the break. So if you want to get a cup of java, a cup of tea, we'll be back in 3 minutes talking to Joe Taylor. You're listening to Gary, James, and Joe Taylor on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark.